huge crowd, which was to be the theme. And the President of the USA amongst those in and so the World Cup then giving a tremendous send-off by the USA, and so to the opening game between Germany and Bolivia.
We're now just moments away from a place in the semi-finals. The contrasting fortunes of Penev and Voits. 2.5 minutes of stoppage time played. Enough's enough from Torres Cadena, the Colombian referee. A real shock in the New York Giants Stadium. Lechkov, who plays for Hamburg, had ousted the world champions Germany. Bulgaria into the last four. And so to Romania against Sweden. And another pulsating clash this promised to be. And it so nearly developed into a fast start, with Martin Dahlin so close to heading home Sweden's opening goal from Ingersson's cross. But once again, it was a match that was to be remembered for what happened in the second half. Goalless first 45 minutes. What a second 45 minutes we had here. And it was a match that will be remembered for this brilliant save from Prenea, from Brolin, and also some incisive and inspired finishing. Here, Ingersson to Brolin. They've done it in training so often. Now they've done it in a World Cup quarter-final. And just 11 minutes from time, Thomas Brolin with a fantastic goal. Fate seemed to be with Romania in stoppage time. Radicioiu with the finish. Extra time loomed, and Radicioiu had done it again. He'd not been in the game, he'd now taken us in to the extra period. And then came what looked to be the turning point of the match. A defensive error, and Radicioiu with the finish. 2-1 Romania. And just 19 minutes left of extra time. When Sweden were reduced to 10 men, the chance of a comeback looked remote. Schwartz got sent off, and then came the equaliser. Kenneth Anderson had done it again. And so to penalties. And Romania have lost in the last World Cup to penalties, but when Hakan Mild missed, their luck could well have changed. Then came Ravelli making the decisive saves. And so it was all down to Bernadeschi. If he were to miss, Sweden were through after Henrik Larsson had made it 5-4. Bernadeschi kept his nerve, but Ravelli did better and produced a heroic save. So Sweden, against the odds, with 10 men, have produced a comeback and won on penalties. Romania out on penalties for the second World Cup in a row. Sweden through to the semi-finals. And so to the World Cup semi-finals. Bulgaria against Italy from the New York Giants Stadium. Few fancied Bulgaria, but Italy had certainly ridden their luck. But in this match, they produced some brilliant football. 21 minutes gone, Roberto Baggio giving him the lead. So familiar to the pattern that Paolo Rossi had used to become the real star of the '82 World Cup finals, Baggio was to produce an inspirational performance here with 2 goals in 5 minutes. They'd come so close to annihilating Bulgaria, and certainly this was one of the most breathtaking periods of the whole World Cup as Italy found their form midway through the first half. It was a semi-final in which Bulgaria threatened to upset the odds, but which Roberto Baggio proved so decisive. 2 goals in 5 minutes midway through the first half. Delight for Arrigo Sacchi, and who could blame him as the star player of Italy had produced the goods on the big occasion. Italy could and should have had a third. Maldini's header just wide. His reaction told the story. He should have found the target. Then came another twist in the tale just before half-time when Bulgaria earned themselves a penalty. There seemed little doubt in the decision. Perhaps this time Padluka was lucky to stay on the field as he brought down Sirakov. No card for Padluka, but Hristo Stoichkov stepped up for his 6th goal of the tournament, joint top scorer with Oleg Salenko. Well, the second half brought chances for both sides, and it also brought a yellow card for Costa Curta, highly significant as he was to miss the World Cup final. What a tragedy for the player who'd missed the European Cup final for AC Milan against Barcelona. And then came the controversial moment late in the match. Did Costa Curta handle this? For me, for sure. Kostadinov felt the rub of the green hadn't gone his way, but Italy won the match by 2-1. Well, who would Italy play in the World Cup final? Would it be Brazil or Sweden? Well, this was a match that could have gone either way. Tight, for sure. Brazil had great chances. Romario should have scored. Mazinho looked like he had. Only the side netting denying Brazil the early initiative. But in the end, it was one goal that was decisive. And again, it was that man Romario who was so inspirational in its coming. His performance again had been the epitome of a Brazilian player who was determined to get into the game. Well, after 63 minutes, their cause was helped when Jonas Tern was shown red. The second Swede to be sent off in successive matches following Stefan Schwarz is sending off against Romania. Tern with a final farewell to his opposite number Dunga, but the challenge really deserved nothing less than red. Right in front of the referee, there can be little doubt. So Brazil then running out of time, but 9 minutes from the end, Romario heading home the goal that was to take Brazil through to a repeat of the 1970 World Cup final against Italy. 1-0 Romario. It had to be the goal that proved decisive. It was, and Sweden's gallant effort had been rewarded with nothing. Third place was the best they could hope for. Brazil through to face Italy in the final. 1,000 turned up for the match for third place between Sweden and Bulgaria. This was a game that was very one-sided, with Sweden dominating. In front after 8 minutes, Ingerson's cross and Thomas Brolin with the finish. They made it 2 on the half hour. Hakan Mild getting his first goal in the World Cup finals. Cleverly quick taken free kick. It worked for Sweden for the second time in 3 matches, and Mild making no mistake. Sweden took real pride in achieving third place in the World Cup, and they certainly did it in a decisive manner. Henrik Larsson keeping his cool and his nerve as he rounded Mihailov and making it 3 after 37 minutes. And when Kenneth Anderson made it 4 after 39, it could have been any number. In the end, though, the Swedes had to settle for 4, and Bulgaria, despite a tremendous second half, couldn't find a way through, the best their chances coming to Balakov. So Sweden, who'd won many friends with their performances, had lost narrowly to Brazil, but in the end settled for third place and were very proud by their achievements. And so to the World Cup final, a repeat of the clash in 1970 between Brazil and Italy. After a World Cup that had produced so many memorable moments, it was somewhat of a shame that the final was to be arguably disappointing. But it was tight, it was tense, and it was in the end to be decided by the penalty shootout. This was a World Cup that will be remembered for the 141 goals that were scored, but none in the final. It's a final that will be remembered for the chances that went away. It will be a final that will be remembered in a way for the fact that neither team wanted to lose. The stakes in the richest game in the world are certainly something that when it comes down to 90 minutes, you need luck, like Padluka had there when he saved and it hit the post. There were chances though in the game for sure. The best of them for Italy coming to Roberto Baggio. In the end, goalless after 90 minutes and 30 minutes of extra time. And the best of the opportunities in the extra time came to the likes of Romario. This time Padluka making a brilliant save at his feet. Romario though was to have other opportunities, but so were the Italians, as the extra time produced us some exciting free-flowing football. In the end, though, Brazil will have counted themselves unlucky not to have won. How Romario didn't take this opportunity to finish the job off. Benarivo certainly seemed disappointed with the linesman, but that was the chance that went begging. And then came the one that Roberto Baggio should have done better with. Clearly, tension mounted as the penalty shootout became apparent. Pavluka and Taffarel. One was destined to be a hero. The first penalty from the captain, Baresi. He couldn't believe it. He blasted over. Then came a brilliant save from Pavluka from Marcio Santos. We had a penalty shootout to remember. Then the save from Daniele Misaro, this time by Taffarel. And so the real pressure now on the remaining Italian players. Dunga, a brilliant finish. Now, Baggio had to score. Roberto Baggio blasted over. The Italian dream was over. Brazil had become the first country to win the World Cup 4 times. They'd done it in the first penalty shootout. This had been a World Cup memorable by all the good things. For Baresi, it was tears at the end. But what a comeback he'd made after limping out earlier in the competition. It had been a World Cup that had produced so much greatness. It's a shame to go out on a sad note. But certainly the killing of Andres Escobar is one that will live in the memory. A World Cup of joy and samba and joy for Brazil, the world champions for the 4th time.